Going Dutch. It is a term normally used for riding your bike through the tulip fields, sharing a stroopwafel, peeing on a canal while drunk, or paying your own share of the bill. If you've answered D, congratulations. You've just won about $5 because pretty much the whole Western world knows this phrase.
We'll go Dutch.
I'm not going Dutch.
I'd rather go Dutch.
Except it seems like the Dutch themselves. Check out what happened when I asked Dutchies on the streets of Amsterdam and Utrecht to define the term going Dutch. Actually, I didn't do this alone. I partnered up with a friend and YouTuber David, who runs his own channel, and it's all about Dutch culture. So if you want to know more about Dutch culture, his channel is an absolute must watch. Go check it out. Have you ever heard of the term going Dutch?
Going Dutch?
No, yeah, I think I have, but I don't know. I don't remember really.
The what?
Going Dutch?
Going Dutch? Never heard of it.
Can you guess what it means?
Going Dutch? No, I don't know.
Just go with the flow or?
No, I think it's something about money, right?
Yes.
Yeah?
I'm actually not familiar with the term.
Oh, going the cheap way?
Yeah, that you're, I don't know, not very generous or something?
What do you think it means? It means that you have to pay your own bill.
For us, if we say going Dutch, it's like splitting the bill.
Going Dutch, is that splitting the bill? Is that
Yes.
right? Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
It means splitting everything, so splitting the bill in a restaurant.
Yeah, with payments, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I know it. Yes, like going Dutch is to split the bill. Yeah. It's typically Dutch.
So going Dutch is splitting the bill on a date.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, I know that.
Is that a thing?
Yes.
Oh.
Actually, I heard about the word or the term in first dates, the British first dates, and people were like, shall we go Dutch? And I was like, what does it mean? But it means like splitting the bill, I think. People from outside the Netherlands see it like that we always split the bill and stuff like that.
Do you think that's true?
Oh yeah.
I think the most stereotypical part about being Dutch is that you always go Dutch. We just share everything. So it's not like, I want to save money. It's just because,
Individueel. We zijn heel erg
we are just like individuals. So like you pay for your own stuff, you have your own money. So let's have a good time together, but then just split the bill. Because then we have even a better time together because I don't need to pay for your drinks. And then the whole world is like, oh yeah, you're going Dutch. Oh. Yeah, I think it's just, I think it's bullshit.
So it turned out only half of the people actually knew what the term going Dutch was. Had I asked this question in the US, Canada, or Australia, I would have had a way better turnover. At least I would think so. But here I was in Dutchland talking to Dutch people about going Dutch, and half weren't even aware that such a term existed. Ironic, no? I can say with certainty that the Netherlands is at the top of that splitting the bill pyramid. That also shares this place with countries such as Germany, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, all those countries that I tend to go to time and time again that are very cold, very individualistic, and also have a strong equality between men and women. So what makes the Netherlands so different? Are the Dutch more cheap? Do they have some unique aspect that makes them stand out from the other splitting the bill cultures? I'll get into this and more in the video, so stay tuned. But first I was curious to know, do the Dutch actually go Dutch on the first date? Is that stereotype true? Or do the men tend to still pick up the tab on the first date? On the first date, who pays?
Oh yeah, it's always a question.
I would pay if it's a nice date.
I pay.
Yeah.
You pay, okay.
Well, my preference would actually be not going Dutch because it feels more fair in my opinion, not to split everything. It's more like giving and taking.
Do they usually pay on the first date?
Yeah, well, mine did.
On the first date, yeah. After that, no, I like to split things.
Yes, or like I will pay the next time.
Yeah.
Who should pay on the first date in your opinion?
Yeah, of course, the man, that's easy. I think you are there for a reason, you like the girl, you want to show her that you really like her, so then you just pay the bill.
For me, I would pay on the first date, but now with all the women empowerment and stuff, I think it's also good to just split the bill because it saves me money and the women want to pay.
If they keep paying and paying and paying and paying, how does that make you feel?
Well, I wouldn't allow it.
No, I also wouldn't allow it. Like I have my own money. And
yeah, same.
It doesn't feel right to let someone pay everything, even if they earn more money.
I think it's fine that the other time then you say like, okay, next time you pay.
Yeah, if she offers to split,
yeah,
then
why
just
not?
Always split.
If she wants to split, she wants to split. If she don't want to split, I will pay for the first date.
If the bill becomes too high, then I would say just split the bill.
I split with friends, but not on first date.
You two are a couple.
Yeah.
Who pays on the first date?
Our first date was at my place, and I think I bought dinner outside the house. I don't know,
For us, I think it's equal.
It's really pretty
It doesn't
equal.
really matter.
Yeah.
One time, we just exchange and then she pays, then I pay, then she pays, and I pay.
We know people that are like couples and then they have this app and it splits your expenses, so you put everything in, and then they also do it when they're together, and I always think that's very funny, but we don't do that.
Second one, I would say as a joke, hey, I paid for the first one, come on, now you pay for this one. And if she likes you, then yeah, she'll pay for the second date. And if not, then...
For both of you or for herself?
Of both, of course. Both. Yeah, of course. In Dutch, we just say, I'll send you a tikkie.
Who should pay the bill?
The man.
I think it's still the classic one, yeah. I think still, yeah.
Of course.
Do you think that has changed over time? Yes. In the old way, you know, women like to have the door open for them. The men take charge of the bill and everything. And now through the tikkie culture and everything, it's much easier now. And now all the women are working as well. So it's not a money thing anymore.
So let's quickly break down the term going Dutch. Where did it actually originate from? Well, as it turns out, there are many theories, but one seems to be the most accurate. When the German-speaking groups immigrated to the US in the 17th and 18th century, those that settled in Pennsylvania became known as the Pennsylvania Dutch. Why Dutch, may you ask? Well, for some time, High Dutch referred to people from Germany, and Low Dutch to those from the Netherlands. Could be because they couldn't distinguish between Deutsch and Dutch, and unfortunately, many still can't, but that's another story. The Pennsylvania Dutch, or Deutsch, had the reputation for not liking to owe anyone anything. So if they would go out to a tavern, each person wanted to pay their own share of the bill. Eventually, because of this, different variations began popping up. Dutch treats, such as paying your own share, Dutch lunch, or individual serving of meats and cheeses, and finally, go Dutch. By the way, let me know in the comments below if your country uses the term going Dutch, or if you have any other equivalents that use the word Dutch in it. Let me know in the comments below. And by the way, if you guys like this video, please don't forget to subscribe, and let's continue. But yes, that's how it all got started. And yes, the Deutsch are renowned for splitting the bill and paying their own share, but the Dutch take it one step further. Income, the Tikkie, an online paying system where you can send people requests for ridiculously tiny, absurdly tiny amounts of money. I joke, of course. The Tikkie isn't used to request tiny amounts of money. You can send a Tikkie out for 20 euros to 1,000 euros, and that's totally fine. But there are also examples of people sending the Tikkies for ridiculously tiny amounts of money, and I'm gonna read some examples to you just so you know I'm not making this up. €1 for a chocolate chip cookie my roommate baked and offered me. Not me, but I heard a story of a friend that was sent a Tikkie for the time she watched Netflix with a guy that she was hooking up with. The lad calculated the rate per hour and then charged her for the 3 hours they watched together. 15 cents for statiegeld. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correct. I was a bit hungry at his house, asked if I could grab an apple from the fruit bowl. When I got home, he sent me a Tikkie for the apple. 70 cents for a birthday card for a friend, which is actually not so terrible in comparison to the other ones. So I offered this colleague a coffee, and then he pulls out a cigarette, starts smoking, and asks if I want one. I say yes. Later that day, he sent me a Tikkie for something like 50 cents. Eggs that your mother brought to your house. You would think it's a nice gesture and a gift. Then you receive the Tikkie for €4. And someone answers, €4 Tikkie for eggs from your own mother? That's tough. Yeah, I still don't get it. Did the mom bring the eggs and then send a Tikkie? I had a date with a guy. He made me order food because he didn't want to eat alone. We ordered McDonald's. He offered to pay the bill. The date was shit and we had a fight at the end. Next day, I received a €5 Tikkie for my food, which he had offered to pay after insisting that I must order something. One of those small dishwasher sponges, 7 cents. That must be the lowest I've ever heard of someone sending a Tikkie for. Honestly, these were such an entertaining read, but also something I couldn't quite wrap my head around. After all, I've never lived in the Netherlands. I've never had a Tikkie request for 50 cents, I must say. But we also wanted to get the perspective of the Dutchies themselves to see what is the smallest amount that they've ever been requested and what is the smallest Tikkie that they've sent out. Have you heard of the Tikkie?
Oh yeah, I use it quite often.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, Dutch person would send a payment request, €4 or €3, whereas I think in Mediterranean countries people wouldn't do that. They would also come across as a bit like stingy.
Have you ever received a tikkie or sent a tikkie?
Every day for my kids.
Would you personally do that? Do you send tikkies often?
Not for like €1 or €2, no.
What's like the most surprising or ridiculous tikkie that you've ever gotten?
Even just for €1.50 because he didn't have any money on his account and he wanted an ice cream.
I think 5 or 10 euros maybe.
Have you ever gotten a tikkie for like €1 or €2?
Yeah, we did. Maybe just for the water or I don't know, like some candy in the store. I don't know.
I once heard a story that someone sent another person a tikkie for borrowing my T-shirt of €1 or something.
Or like cigarettes, when you buy a pack and then you give away 2 or 3 cigarettes and you get a tikkie for the 2 cigarettes.
A guy has never sent me a tikkie, thankfully. Passing a bar, I hear like clearly like 2 people on their first date, like Dutch people, and they're like, yeah, so tikkie me, just tikkie me.
It mostly happened during when we were studying, I think.
Okay.
Because then you have not so much money.
If you're with friends and if it's a big bill, you just split it.
Yeah, you send a tikkie and you feel equal, sort of.
You don't feel guilt
Yeah.
towards the other one. When someone sends a tikkie from 50 cents or something, I think, okay, you're very...
But has it happened before?
No, I never got one. But I know there are people who would maybe do something like that. But on the other hand, if you're with 100 people or with 200 people and everybody should pay 50 cents, you still have like 50 euro, 100 euros.
I was raised different, I hate it. When I go to the bar, I pay, or my father was doing the same and we do the same.
In that case, we're not typical Dutch.
Now, of course, if you're a grown adult who makes a decent living wage, chances are you are not going to send someone a tikkie for less than €1. As you've just heard, people who do that are usually students where every 50 cents counts. And of course, as with any other nation, you have people that are just super cheap. But there's a reason that the Dutch are often labeled the cheapest people in all of Europe. And I think that largely has to do with the fact that they used to be traders and had to bargain for a living. If you had a chance to watch my last video, you would have seen that the Dutch all agreed with the stereotype of being the most frugal people out there. They actually said that yes, we do live for sales, we love a good bargain, and if we can save money, we will save money. We would prefer not to spend money if we don't have to. And if you're a nation used to bargaining and trying to get a good deal, those two things actually add up. Traders trying to get a bargain. I think it kind of makes sense. Once I heard a story from a Dutch friend. She said she was invited to another Dutch friend's house, and after drinking a glass of wine and having some nibbles, she went home, where she realized that the friend had sent her a tikkie for that glass of wine and those nibbles that she had. I was also told of stories where a host would throw a dinner party, invite a whole bunch of people, and then send out a tikkie to each person for the amount of food that they had. When I heard this story, I said, wow, I could never, ever do that. To which I was told, then don't move to the Netherlands.
I've heard something like this, that in the Netherlands, sometimes you throw a party, and the way the party works is like you'll do everything, and then you send everybody the tikkie for the party. Is this true?
That's one of those stereotypes, I hate them.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Everyone does that.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
I think so. For birthday, it's different, but if you have just a general dinner party, you're just having some friends over for dinner, then you could send out tikkies.
Yes, I've heard about this, and I've heard a lot of these weird stories of dinner parties and birthday parties, like weird habits. Also that there's like specific time when you have to like leave. They just like kick you out. If you want more food, they don't like let you take a second plate, and it's those kind of things. But I haven't experienced it.
I have. I've experienced it at Dutch weddings. Sometimes it's like you're invited to only the ceremony and then you have to leave before the dinner, or you're not invited to the ceremony and you just come for the dinner, and I found that super weird. Personally, for me, that wasn't the case. I was there for the whole thing, but I've noticed like new people. I was like, what's happening? What's going on? They're like, oh, they're the dinner group, and you're like, oh, there's 2 groups, which was super weird to me. I've gotten like tikkie before for like dinner with Dutch friends at their house. Yeah, for sure.
If we are hosting it, we're paying it. But we see with other friends that they send tikkies, or they ask if you want to share the bill.
Yeah, sometimes. Maybe if it's like with 10 couples or something, people can send a tikkie. But I think most of the time, if we together go to another couple, you just bring a bottle of wine or something. So then you don't. But if someone, if it's like a really big group, then the host can say, everyone, you can pay me whatever you want.
I don't mind.
You don't mind?
No.
Okay. You don't mind as well? No, I also don't mind. Just pay it. Yeah.
I think I was invited for brunch once, and it was like, oh, we'll do brunch, don't worry about it. It was like a bagel per person and not more. It was like one bagel per person, no extras, you know, whereas I feel like when I used to live in the US, there's like tons of food, everyone's invited. And the worst, like the biggest fear is that you think I don't have food for everyone and someone goes home hungry. That definitely doesn't translate here.
The best way would be just to ask the Dutch person what the preference would be, because some of the people are typically really Dutch, then they always go Dutch for everything, but it doesn't account for everyone. So
we are not a stereotype.
No.
Yeah. While most Dutch people offered a resounding yes to the dinner party Tikkie question, a lot of them actually cringed at the idea, which made me wonder if I had picked maybe the most generous Dutch people in the Netherlands, or maybe they just didn't want to share to the whole world that they have once sent out a tikkie, because I personally wouldn't if that were me. But there are a few other things that I found quite interesting through these conversations, namely the fact that it was quite common to ration food. Did you have that little bit of pasta? Great, now we can put the whole thing away. Never mind that you might want more. And that I found very, very similar to countries like Germany or Sweden, which is very much known for its Sweden Gate phenomenon. Waste is seen as unnecessary, and frugality comes into play. I've always wondered why it is the poorest countries that are the most hospitable with their food. I remember going to Cuba, and one of the women there shared a tiny bit of whatever she had left. She had nothing, but she shared it with me. And that really made me think about the fact that in those poor countries, community is everything. Now, if you don't have any food, you're gonna go to your friend's house and borrow maybe something from them. And then in return, when they're not in a good place, they're gonna come to your house and borrow some food from you. So depending on your community and that collectivist culture is everything. The Dutch, however, just like the Germans and the Swedes, are individualistic through and through. Practicality and planning rules. And there's nothing practical about wasting your food. That's just silly. Whether you think it's cringe, downright disgusting, absolutely amazing, so shut up all of you who don't agree with me. There is no right answer to this, because culture is culture, and what you think is absolutely abnormal in the other culture is just the way that they've been raised and what feels integral for them, and it's the style of life. Which is why it's so interesting to examine these intricacies. And if you guys like what I'm doing, if you want to see more videos like it, then please subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the like button and leave a comment if you found this video useful. See you next week with another topic, and as usual, keep breaking down your barriers.